Hey guys, Alucard here, also known as an esports legend at asymmetrical games that no one plays. And today's video is about a brand new asymmetrical game called Carnival Hunt that lately seems less of a game and more like an alpha Kickstarter scam. I say this for multiple reasons, including missing their Kickstarter deadlines, having multiple unexpected delays, and strangely being completely silent about Carnival Hunt's progress on all their social media except Discord. While developers did create some sort of bot so that we can see what progress they're making on changes in the game in real time, they've been awfully quiet about what the progress of the game actually is, and only refer to the alpha as being unfinished and not to really have high expectation, which would be fine if they didn't charge $40 early access on their own third-party site, which I think might actually be against Steam's rules. While it's true that this package also includes buying the base game, we have no idea when or if the game will ever be made. So that means that what you're paying for now is essentially just alpha access to an unfinished game that probably won't have enough players to reliably get a match. It's also strange that when you do get a key, the game says it's in beta access, not alpha. But also in the game, it doesn't say alpha, it says pre-alpha, like it's even earlier than their advertising. Developer Beer Night Studio and the official Carnival Hunt Twitter have both been silent for over a year, which is extremely strange since this alpha is relatively new and you think they'd want to advertise it to get more players. It's also strange that the Crydevo publisher account on Twitter, which is usually pretty active, hasn't made any mention of this either. I'll show you that the developers and the publisher seem to have a pattern of misleading people about this game, and trying to rip people off for as much money as they can with a clearly unfinished and poor quality product. I'm sick and tired of these shady, greedy business practices of missing deadlines, being dead silent and communicating with their audience, and still shamelessly trying to rip people off for as much money as they can. I hope you guys enjoy watching. First, let's begin with the very misleading Kickstarter campaign the developers started in 2023, with a lot of overpromised and undelivered rewards and deadlines that they shamelessly missed with very little to no communication. They begin by describing their game as an exhilarating and spine-chilling asymmetric multiplayer game where nightmares come alive. By the way, a closer look at some of the language on their Kickstarter seems to suggest it could have possibly been written by AI. However, unlike the nightmares coming alive, it seems like all the social media links above, except for the Discord, have not come alive since last year. And by that, I mean they've been eerily silent even with the recent release of a playable alpha that they're trying to charge $40 early access for. Carnival Hunt was able to raise over $120,000. However, there was an ETA on the expected delivery of the full game of Carnival Hunt in June 2024, which would be about a year after this Kickstarter started. But almost as though you could expect it, this never happened, and there was tons of silence and delays about the beta test that was supposed to happen long ago at the end of 2023. Finally, in early 2024, after complete silence and obvious delays, the devs said it was because their main programmer had been sick with a serious illness. While the Discord announcement of this no longer exists, the devs did expand on it in their own Q&A video in March 15, 2024.
When we started working on Carnival Hunt, we knew the scope of the game was way bigger, so we needed more talents and we hired more people. Like total of 12 people, and problem was we still had one programmer. There are like a couple of reasons behind that, so I'm gonna explain that to you right now. The first one was making a video game was like a dream, like a distant dream for Mongolians, because the complexity, uh, because of the complexity, no one like dared to do it. On top of that, there were like only 2 or 3 programmers in the whole country, like with the experience of making games. So our programmer was one of them, and he was like the best one, the most experienced and most talented one. Um, the second reason was our programmer basically did not want to work with other programmers because he knew there aren't any experienced programmers out there, and he did not want to spend.
Out there, you want to say in Mongolia, you're gonna hurt a lot of programmers right now.
Oh, no, no, no! I was actually telling I'm actually telling the truth right now, because
Oh,
like,
that's okay. Yeah.
yeah, the experience in making games is like really new to us. Now
Hmm.
everybody's like looking at it now, but like 2 years ago, like 4 years ago, no one like had their mind, like in games, making games, like maybe some apps, some mobile small games, but not like a full scope game.
In
So
Mongolia, yes.
yeah, in Mongolia, yeah, in
Yeah.
Mongolia, yeah. So our programmer basically, did not want to work with other programmers, because he don't want he didn't want to like end up explaining things and wasting time, just explaining things to people, like, inexperienced people. So that was the reason he wanted to work alone. That's
Yes.
why we had like one programmer on the team. Uh,
Mhm.
so during the Kickstarter, announcement, like preparations, not the announcement, like the announcement preparations, we had to like make the video, like the introduction video, and uh, like we had to prepare a lot of stuff. During that time, our programmer actually got really sick
Mm.
with some serious lung issues, and he had to be hospitalized for almost like
That's
two
something
and a,
that we've been sharing with the
yeah,
community as well as.
yep,
Yeah.
2.5 months. And uh, during this time, like we were working on a schedule. The art department was like on schedule, and then we got another bad news after that. Our programmer's lung got better, but because of the heavy antibiotics, his liver was damaged really bad,
Sucks. Yeah.
and we had to wait for him to get well again. And he got it better in like October. So the Kickstarter campaign, after Kickstarter campaign ended, he got better in October and got back to work. But we did not want to like push him, because he was still recovering. We did not, like put any pressure on him.
It's of course understandable that any illness should be taken seriously. However, the devs also revealed in this Q&A that he was better by October in 2023. It also means that this developer must have gotten very sick towards the end of the Kickstarter campaign, even though the final update to that campaign was in August 2023, meaning that the devs knew about it, but chose not to update even the backers about what was going on and expected delays for transparency. The Kickstarter is also loaded up with a lot of misleading teaser trailers and GIFs that seem to suggest the level design, at least for one map, is almost already complete. However, when we checked the dev Q&A in March 2024, it's made clear that most of the assets aren't done and the level design is far from complete.
Yeah, let's just show the map, like Anka can fly around. So that you guys know like how it works. Like first in development, you kind of like for the scale and for the fill, you put the blackouts like that, the gray maps and things like that. So this is how things are tested if like the space is too narrow, if things like that. So like internally we're running tests on this kind of maps, but later when we're gonna get like to the closed alpha or betas, like you will see that things are actually switching to what they need to be. It's like so.
More
This is just
functional.
this is just a game design process, and yeah, you can. He's flying around. It's like where you can like move, like actually travel as you play as a bunny. Rocket probably can.
After we finalized the level, like tested it, then we'll just fill it out with our assets and modular assets and make it look beautiful.
It seemed incredibly deceptive not to make this 100% clear until long after the Kickstarter campaign was over. This could also be against Kickstarter's guidelines, which says misleading imagery includes photorealistic rendering and a heavily edited or manipulated images or videos that can give backers a false impression of a product's current stage of development. Some abilities, like using the magician's hat trick or teleporting between wardrobes, seem misrepresented as working much more fluidly and smoothly than they do in the actual alpha. This is also true in the dev Q&A, where they defended the hat trick, saying that it was that smooth and they tried to show demonstrations of it. However, even in their demonstration, it was much more clunky and slow than appears in the GIF.
Probably
Really
can
tall.
show us some of his skills. Yeah. It's like,
Yep.
pretty.
Oh, that's
pretty
the
dope.
grab. Oh, they are highlighted red. Okay, that's nice. That's nice.
So
Is it
the first one is the basic one is the grab. Yeah, it's the grab. Yeah, and the bunny turns into a projectile.
Poor
Or you can
bunnies,
also
man.
capture the like the ragdolls? No. Okay.
This is like super nice. So he can use his ability to put his hand in the hat and grab the bunny.
Oh, it does
like,
work.
in front
Oh,
of
if it's
the
a
dog.
real player, it works. Oh.
Yeah,
He
so
missed.
we've been showing that on our like Kickstarter campaigns, and it looked like it might be like fake or something because it's too good to be true, but it's actually worked.
While there's even more to say about misleading states of the game, such as the sister monster that's mentioned several times and even shows pictures and rigs of, though of course is still not ready even a year and a half later, I'd like to talk more about that dev Q&A from March 2024 where we can see exactly how unprofessional and amateur the devs truly are.
So his point is that we're looking for like C++ developers and on Unreal 5.
No, it works.
If you know Mongolian Big Plus, so that's like a long stretch, yeah, no blueprints. So blueprints, like if you guys
Well, I mean,
make games on the blueprints, it's fine if you know them, but like we want you to have ability to tweak things with no boundaries, like so.
Yeah, and
Sounds
I
about?
think,
You guys
can you
hear
guys
me?
hear me now? Let's see in the chat.
Should be working.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh,
That's
perfect. So yeah, I think overall just also some additional information that we, as of right now, as of start, basically looking for 3 more additional people, as Alex already mentioned, C++ and Real Engine knowledge. If you know server side, that's also amazing. Even though server side is all set up and should be working fine, but just in case, that's a big plus. So yeah, if you guys possess those knowledge, please let us know.
I think any
And
kind of talents,
can
guys.
review.
If you do stuff, it's like just let us know. We can always check it out.
Yep.
But I think that's enough.
It is terrifying to think that this is how desperate they were to get people to program their game, especially with so much money invested and hardly any progress done since the end of the Kickstarter. The devs also claim that their intention is never to monetize Kickstarter rewards, but at the same time they mull over the possibility of using a Patreon.
People were wondering if other people can buy the Kickstarter exclusive
Pledge in any
skins.
way.
Yeah, but they can't. It's only for
I mean,
Kickstarter.
we can Rocket potentially consider doing something like Patreon, maybe.
This is important because they do try to monetize the Kickstarter beta access, and for an expensive, greedy $40 on their own scummy website. It's interesting to note that Carnival Hunt also has a seemingly fake closed beta sign-up that you can join by entering your email on carnivalhunt.com. However, nobody's going to ever receive invites this way since they're selling beta access for $40 or more on the third-party site. Which begs the question as to why this exists at all. The fact that devs would charge this much, and not even care if it's possible for their own backers to have enough players to get matches, shows how scummy, greedy, and shady their business practices are. And brings me to the next section, which is the possibility of these devs breaking Steam's rules. Now let's talk about the greedy practice of the devs trying to sell an extremely overpriced early access to non-Kickstarter backers. While granting access to these playtests for more people is something that they should do, it's not something they should have done for $40 on their third-party site. This is also shameless since the dev makes it clear in the very same Discord post that he's aware there may not be enough players to have a lot of matches in the alpha test. Which begs the question, why would you charge so much money for alpha test access knowing that if you actually care about your backers being able to get matches? If the developers weren't so focused on ripping people off, they'd probably try to make sure their alpha tests were more polished and that they can get more players involved so that people can get a match. For example, one thing the devs could try if they actually cared is utilize the Steam playtest feature so that many more players can try these alphas and betas for free, which would help everybody, including the Kickstarter backers, get more matches since they would have a much higher player base. You could also run a survey for Kickstarter backers that already paid for beta access in the past. I'm pretty sure most of them would be okay even if people got to try alpha test for free, as long as it meant they got more matches. And instead, maybe they could be offered to have more consideration for their suggestions for the game's development. I was motivated to look into Steam's rules about Steam keys when the devs were making excuses as to why they hadn't already given out the extra beta access Steam keys that certain Kickstarter packages had already paid for. There I found very interesting rules that seem to be being broken, where they talk about release date override Steam keys for alpha and beta access, where the maximum amount of keys given out is around 2,500. Since the devs had claimed to have emailed out at least one key per beta access Kickstarter tier, that meant that already 1,028 Steam keys had been emailed to people that backed it. However, when I added up all the possible keys that could be purchased that came with all the Kickstarter tiers, it added up still much lower than the 2,500 maximum allowed. This made it extremely strange that not all the keys were given out right away, and it also raised another interesting question that makes me believe the devs may in fact be breaking Steam's rules right now. And that rule is that you should not be selling release date override or beta package keys to customers, which is exactly what the devs are doing on their website. The rules also state that crowdfunding campaigns should be time limited. However, these new $40 early access packages seem to be trying to circumvent that. At the very least, it seems like it's against the rules to try selling Steam keys on a third-party website without offering a similar deal on Steam itself. It also seems to strangely make sense then why the devs aren't advertising this kind of sale on any other social media other than the Discord. Like, how come this isn't on their Kritevo active Twitter account, or on the Carnival Hunt Twitter or Beer Knight's Twitter at all? Even on the scummy Kritevo website where you can buy these overpriced packages, they haven't bothered to update their descriptions of things like for the Magician on the game, still listing an outdated scrap mechanic called the Eyeball, which doesn't currently exist in the alpha. This is because the devs and publisher don't care about updating people about the current state of Carnival Hunt. They only care about ripping people off for as much money as they possibly can. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you liked this video, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, and all that other stuff that every other guy tells you to do. See you later.